call on our lives, and according to the schedule, this is to be entitled Maximizing Your Full and True Potential. And I am very pleased to have you here for this session, because I believe it's probably one of the most important ones that we are going to experience. I would like to start off by saying that no one in this room knows you. And worse than that, I don't even think you know you. One of the great philosophers that you know so well said one time, be true to thyself, know thyself. And we have sort of quoted those things as if they were law. But as I began to study about the awesomeness of God and the bigness of God, I began to appreciate that philosophy has very little to do with God when it comes down to revelation knowledge. And I've concluded that I really don't know anybody. I don't know my wife. I don't know my children. And I really don't know you. And it's the fact that I realize that causes me to have an awesome respect for you because of that, because I don't know you. I think we cancel people because we conclude we know them. And it's that very fact that God would like to destroy, that concept that we think we know people. After this session, you will begin to appreciate that you are not who you thought you were. And who you will discover that you could be will be shocking to you. I want to talk, first of all, about some place that all of us are eventually going to end up. One place we'll all end up is the cemetery. And I have concluded that the most precious, valuable, potent, rich, wealthiest spot on the planet is the cemetery. The cemetery is more wealthier than the oil fields of Iran. The cemetery is richer than all the gold mines and the diamond mines of South Africa. Why? Because in the cemeteries are buried the potential, unused ability of humans. Dreams, visions, ideas are buried, never realized, never experienced, never seen. And that's sad. The greatest tragedy, however, in life is not death. To me, the greatest tragedy in life is the gravestones in the cemetery. Why? Because the fact that you have to erect stones to remind us that you used to be here is a sad commentary that you didn't leave a mark in our lives strong enough. The fact that we have to put a little marker in the earth with your name on it may be a very sad commentary on your life. I heard statements about Jesus. They say he never wrote a book, but no one has written more books about anyone than they have about Jesus. He never sang a song, as we know, but all the songs seem to be sung, the majority is about him. There are no tombstones erected to his honor, and yet everybody seems to walk around with him constantly in their minds, even the atheists think about him. Why? Because it seems as if he has erected the monuments of his honor in the hearts and minds of men and women, because his life was a life that was totally fulfilled. have no desire to claim a spot in a cemetery. I have no wish to have a monument erected of stone or steel in my name. Those things, matter of fact, I prefer that it never happens. And my desire would be that I would erect those monuments in the minds of your children's children. For I believe for such a reason were you born as well. I don't know what my grandfather was, but I'm much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. The statement I thought was interesting. It says, no one can climb out beyond the limitations of his own belief. I think there is so much of you that has been untapped. And when I think about what God is calling all of us to do, everything that is being said in your life over the last 18 months, in your life, I'm sure that's kind of fresh in your experience. 18 months is a good period to try and analyze your life to see what's happening. You could appreciate that God is calling you to something higher, giving you a lot of things to do. I also believe that one of the saddest things in life is that we have too many safety experts. To me, a safety expert is somebody who's afraid to do anything until they're sure they could do it. People who never fail are usually those who never try. And that's a safe way to go. There was a statement made this week by one of our teachers, and he said that whenever you keep company with God and you go with God, it's one of the greatest insecurities in the world. Because the only security you got when you go with God is God. So when you're going to obey God, you've got to become reckless. I don't want you to think that I say yes to the Lord to hold something like this and 4 major conferences a year and all the other things that we're doing. That's not easy. And don't think that, well, everything is fine and it's faith every minute of the day. Believing that God told me to do it. That's what faith is. Believing God told me to do this. So I act. To live like that, you've got to know something. So when you see a man, a woman acting, and it seems to be beyond their ability, from your perspective, it's because they know something. But I've convinced myself, after reading the Word and studying the Word for the last 18 years, that unless you do something beyond what you have done, you will never grow. And only those who dare to fail greatly ever achieve greatly. I would want to encourage you that don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you could do. But do not let what you perceive to be your limitations to cause hesitation. And this morning I want to take you beyond what you see. Or let's put it this way. I want to take you beyond what you're looking at and let you see some things. The concept of potential is probably one of the most important things that I ever discovered in God. And I've been in ministry for 20 years.